Hello, everybody. I am joined today by two wonderful Dutch gentlemen, Helge Hoven. I'll let him introduce himself in a second, and a good friend of ours, Remco Bron. And I hesitate with Remco because your company name is Resono. The Remco, Resono, Bron. Remco, let me start with you because you've spoken before with us. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your company.
My company, I'm not that interesting, but my company is pretty interesting.
Okay.
We basically count people. That's all we do. So we look at where people are. We count them through GPS locations. So we buy GPS locations from many different publishers. And then we have a very complex model and an algorithm to basically get that to 100% of the people that walk by any type of location. So what we do in the Netherlands with especially digital out of home is we calculate exactly, we measure how many people walk by, and even look at is it people walking by, or do they sit in a car, or in the Netherlands a lot of bikes, of course, so do they pass by on bikes? And that is the currency that is used to know what type of reach a specific digital out-of-home location has. Yep. So we do this for many different purposes. So we do this for municipalities, for retailers, for all types of businesses, but specifically for out-of-home and especially for digital out-of-home, we measure exactly how many people are walking by.
Right. Okay. Well, we'll get back to that in a second, because the panel that you're doing is it needs you basically. That'll become obvious when we talk about what you're talking about. Helge, you're going to be the content creative, experiential expert on Thursday, December the 1st at our conference. So welcome to that. You again tell us a little bit about audiovisual. Is it audiovisual or audiovisual real? Your company?
It's First Impression Audiovisual. We are a Dutch company, as you mentioned. This year, 25 years experience. And audiovisual is what we used to do as a main ingredient, but in the meantime, it has evolved into a combination of several sensories that we combine into, in the end, an immersive experience.
Right. Okay. So what will you be doing at the conference in terms of explaining? Have you got concrete examples from retailers that you'll be talking to us about?
Yeah, we will take Rituals as a case. Rituals is a customer since a couple of years, where we really worked from the basics of introducing digital signage as a tool within the in-store experience, making very good experiences, and also with proven results, of course. And that evolved for Rituals also in the new techniques that we integrated in the House of Rituals.
Right. Have you been with the company for 20 plus years? Because you don't look old enough, to be, if I'm honest.
Thank you very much for the compliment, Adrian. But in fact, I'm already a grandfather, so I have...
Oh my giddy aunt. Okay.
I'm already a bit older.
Okay. Well, you might need to bring some proof of being a grandfather next week. I need baby photos.
Yeah. No problem.
I don't believe that. I was going to say my father founded the company or something.
Yeah.
So Remco, you're on a panel which ends our day. We always like to we like to have very not controversial, although if you've been to any of our conferences before, or if the readers, the listeners to this have been to our conference before, they know we like interactivity, we like debate, we like people challenging norms and things. And you're on a really good panel, which is being chaired by, I could never get his name right. It's the best name in the world. If I could just say Marvin Droop, I'd get away with it. But
that's fine. You'll get away with it. Yeah.
It's the middle bit. It's the vacuum bit in the middle. I don't.
He's not that posh in real life, you know.
Isn't he? Okay, so I'll just call him Marvin Droop. Marvin Droop works really well as a name for English people for all sorts of reasons. Whether you've listened to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy or whatever. Marvin was the paranoid android in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Anyway, Marvin's put together a really nice panel. It's the CTO of Displace, Hussein, and yourself, and you're talking about building trust for the digital out-of-home space. That's perfect. You are the most perfect panelist we could possibly have on that session or in that session, because what you're doing. I'm assuming that when your company started, it was for mobile phone, cellular-based, handy type world. Was it before digital out-of-home?
Yeah, and actually we started in Bluetooth beacons, so that's
okay.
how we started. And we even put a lot of those in in a lot of out-of-home, just traditional out-of-home signs back then. And that's actually how we found out that this is a much better and much more accurate way of measuring how many people go past it. And what we've seen, especially in the Netherlands, is that the data that was being used was so broad and basically based on weekly measurements or weekly counts from like 8 years ago, 10 years ago. So it had changed so much. And of course, the out-of-home market had changed so much with digital and programmatic coming along, that it was just, a week's data was just not enough to make sure that you were getting paid enough. Actually, a lot of people were very happy with our data because it showed that there was a lot more people, a lot more eyeballs on those signs.
Right. So targeting is important there. Is there any way that your data and things can be used for attribution? So that people have gone into a store and acquired a product?
Yeah, we do attribution, but we do it the other way around. So what we'll do is we'll measure footfall in the store. So we'll use the store measurement actually to target specific areas. And then we look at the data of those specific areas, specifically penetration. Like 10% of the people living in this area or this neighborhood come to the store. And then when that specific area is targeted, then we look at if those numbers have gone up. And actually, we've been having pretty good success with that as well.
Okay. So Helge, just to end with you, Rituals is a store that people in the UK won't know. Explain a little bit about the store concept.
Well, Rituals is available throughout the world, Adrian. So,
is it? Okay.
Yeah, Rituals has stores in more than 27 countries in the world, 1,000 stores plus. So also in UK.
Okay.
There are.
Tell me, so I'm not embarrassed. Tell me it's for teenage girls or something.
No, it's
it's for grandfathers.
It's for grandfathers. Exactly.
It's face moisturizers. I'm guessing now.
It's eau de parfum. It's moisturizers. It's but also
never been in one of my.
It's really really nice products, high quality, with a luxurious appearance. So it's really appreciated by many in the world. But to tap into what Remco just mentioned about because of the data, this is also where we come in and where we also work together with Masters of Digital and also with Resono. Is yes, they come into the store, but then we have to make a proof of the business result, and that's where we provide data also to our solutions. So we don't think in audiovisual hardware at first. But we think of the purpose and what should be the result in the end, and then we look into what kind of solution would suit them best, and with which tool can we also measure it, and that's where we can then provide the data, where we can, for example, make a measurement on how often something has been lifted up and how often has that item been sold, etc. So the product data is really, really interesting, and it can be matched with the sales revenue at the end of the day, week, month, etc. Yeah.
So you get a form of attribution. So Remco, again, privacy, I suppose, is one of the biggest people's concerns with these things. It's fine tracking the GPS signals or the phone signals and things. That's all covered.
Yeah, it's fine. We'll talk about it in the panel.
Good.
But
Okay.
but
Okay.
it's covered. It's a long story, but it's
Okay.
we work for most of the larger cities and provinces in the Netherlands as well. So we're always looking into the way that's being handled. But
Okay.
I want to talk shortly about something interesting that's happening in retail in the Netherlands. Is that lots of retailers are putting digital out of home screens in their in their store windows. And that's a very interesting trend, because all of a sudden they become publishers as well.
Yes, right. Retail media networks is becoming quite popular in the US as well.
And the interesting part is what we do, and we do that with First Impression and Masters of Digital as well, is we look at those locations. And we make a measurement of what is that space worth, because of course they have no idea. They know how many people are walking into the store, but most companies don't know how many people are walking by the store. And that could be very interesting, where you have home goods stores showing I don't know BMW commercials whenever they're closed, for example, because that's an interesting spot for it, and lots of people are walking by it. So that's something that's to me that's very interesting, also to measure that and to tap into that new market.
Right, brilliant. Okay, well, that's two interesting presentations. Helge's got the floor to himself, so it'll be one to many just before lunch, and you're on a very interesting panel, say with Marvin Droop.
Yeah, we're going to be fighting.
and well, that's good. You're going to end the day wonderfully well. So all I can ask Helge is, you might want to bring some samples for me from Rituals, so I get to know the brand.
Of course.
And I can look as young as you as a grandfather, if I ever become a grandfather.
Well, that's my secret formula. So I will bring you something.
That's what you are a great example for the brand. Okay, Helge Remco, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.